Well, hello. Fit is my new reader friend from South Africa. How are you? And this is going to be kind of a hard one to pull off. I've been trying to think about this for a while because I I know I've explained it in a couple of videos, and I don't want to keep explaining the same thing over. But this is my new Ancestor Oracle deck. For those of you guys who are new here, I literally just got this in my hands within the past week. So this is available at my website, starsparrowtarot.com. I will be making tarot bags for you guys out of this beautiful fabric. And this does not come with a box, doesn't come with a book. It's a very expensive little indie project, but it is an 80 card deck made out of glossed linen. And there you go. There's her sheen, there's her gloss. And the way that I created this deck was with the intention of being a specific language between me and my ancestors. When I had created initially the original deck, which my ancestors and I were using to communicate. Long story short, a couple years down the line, they said, okay, now you're going to make that into an actual deck and you're going to share it with people. So the original messages that I had channeled on that deck between me and my ancestors were actually a lot more mean and a lot more like crass and a little nasty, a little rude. So when I was making this oracle deck, I actually had to really sit with the messages and kind of rechannel my ancestors now at this time and ask them like, what are our intentions moving forward with this deck, and sit with the messages of each card and ask like, what is the actual meat of this message and how can we reword it in more of a friendly and universal way so that it's not so specific to me, right? So the intention behind this deck is that it's supposed to emanate conversing with grandma over a cup of coffee. And I know a lot of us are used to using decks for answers. I don't really like that. I've never been a question person, so like reading tarot with questions in mind is not the way that I read tarot. I channel messages and I let the cards, I let the spirits speak through the cards. So with that in mind, of the way that I channel, with the way that I use cards, it didn't feel right to me to use this as a deck of answers, especially because there are so many decks of answers already, right? I literally have one that is just a deck of answers. Like, literally, I don't know if you've ever seen this. It's like, yes, no, definitely not, take it to the altar, you know, you're on the right path, you're aligned, things like that. So for me, like, I didn't want a deck of answers because it's too easy. And that's not what I want. I don't want answers because I don't have questions. I'm not a question person. So this deck originally was created for my ancestors and I to be able to commune on a more regular basis, because I was having a really hard time talking with them regularly, and they just wanted to talk. They just wanted to be a part of my life. You know, they wanted to hang out more, like catch us up. What's the tea? What's the gossip, right? Pour me a little cafecito. Let's have a little chisme. And that was kind of hard for me to do at the time because I was just starting off in my spirit work. That was a whole lot for me to like cast a circle, call them there, meditate, things like that, just for them to be like, so what's the tea, you know? Now I'm a lot further along in my spiritual journey, and it's not so much of an imposition to just talk with them about things like, grandma, can you believe he did this? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the point of talking to your ancestors, is having family, right? I use the word family very loosely because I don't believe that communing with the ancestors of your highest good always means your bloodline. But take that with a grain of salt. And anyways, when I connect to the ancestor realm, I personally feel like I'm talking to a lot of ancestors that aren't of my bloodline. I feel like there are maybe a handful of ancestors from my bloodline that actually want to help me. And I feel like that's where a lot of people have issues with working with their ancestors or trying to facilitate work with their ancestors, because either they have a problem with their bloodline or things that were done in the past in their bloodline, or they really don't like their current family, things like that. They don't get along, they are estranged and things like that. And for me personally, I think that there's literally only been like 3 or 4 actual ancestors from my bloodline who have come through for me from the ancestor realm. And I feel like for the most part, the ancestors that come through for me are either ancestors of past loved ones, past friends, like past friends of loved ones, right? Ancestors of spirits that I work with. Like, it's really hard to explain, but the ancestor realm to me is really broad, and it doesn't necessarily mean people from my bloodline. So this was supposed to be a way to make it easier to talk, just talk, right? To sit and commune. And back in the day, I used to be really ritualistic about it, like lighting a little white candle, bringing them, you know, a water and an offering, or a cup of coffee, or a bone, you know, and or a book and a Bible and things like that, and really trying to honor, you know, their way of life and things like that. And just as I've progressed in my spiritual journey, I realized like that's not really what they want, at least for me, from my experience. Again, everybody's experience is different with the ancestor realm and what they're doing and what their intentions are, but from the standpoint of the ancestors that I connect with, they just want connection. So these were meant to be talking cards. So say you sit down and you open the table, right? You get a little cup of hot coffee and a little bread for them or whatever, right? And in my experience, my spirits like me to eat with them. They don't want me to just give them the food. They want me to eat with them. So usually it would be something that either I'm eating or I'm okay with eating, and we eat together, and I open the floor and I say, you know, I'm calling on the ancestors of my highest good to commune with me. And you know, I just want to have a little chat sesh, a little tea sesh, right? And already, higher forces are working together on your behalf. Believe in your guides and divine timing. Have faith. Please be patient. So these cards for me, some of them are supposed to be guidance. Some of them are supposed to be advice. Some of them are supposed to be talking points. So you'll notice some of these are actual questions. They kind of seem like rhetorical questions sometimes, but they're not. They're meant to get you thinking, and they're meant to get you talking out loud. So like this one says, the universe is holding a romance for you in the queue. Are you ready? What do you feel like you need to do before it arrives? And the point of that is for you to sit with it, not just read that and go, ugh, I don't want romance, and pull another card like most of us do with tarot cards, right? Or with oracle cards. The whole point is to sit with this and ask, what does this mean? Whether you're using a separate tarot deck or not, I want this to be a way that you actually sit and talk with your ancestors. So, hey, I feel like there are higher forces working on my behalf. I have felt this lately in this way. Think of it kind of like a journal prompt, right? I have felt it in this way. This is resonating for me because of this, and this. And then with something like this, like a question card, you'd be like, are you ready? What do you feel like you need to do before it arrives? And sometimes that will trigger a response like, what do you mean, am I ready? Of course, I've been waiting for this romance, blah, blah, blah. And that's going to cause your ancestors to talk back to you, right? Okay, hold on, slow down. Maybe you got too much fucking ego. Maybe you're too stubborn. Maybe you're too this, right? And you'd be like, what do you mean? What do I feel like I need to do before it arrives? I feel like I've been ready. And they're going to be like, well, do you want a new partner to come in and see your room like this? Do you feel like your skin is popping? Do you feel confident right now? And so these are just meant to be conversation cards. I just want you to have these come out and like sit with them a little bit. So emotional independence, like attracts like, enjoy the fruits of your labor. Like attracts like, And I want you to reflect on what that means in terms of emotional independence. Is this about you? Is this about your partner? Is this about a relationship? Is this about career? Talk about it. What does this mean? What